Live from KTTC, your weather authority, this is KTTC News at 6.
We're going to enter phase 2 of our Stay Safe plan. It's going to allow outdoor dining at restaurants and bars and a measured reopening of salons, barbershops with limited capacity.
Governor Tim Walz announces details of a big step to continue reopening Minnesota.
Restaurants and salons can reopen on the 1st of June, but with some big restrictions. Tonight on KTTC, we're bringing you the latest team coverage on this development and how businesses are reacting. Meantime, in St. Paul, nurses are making their voices heard at the Capitol. But first tonight, Kamaria Bray joins us with what exactly this new announcement from the governor means for Minnesotans. Kamaria?
Tom and Caitlin, those guidelines are very specific to each business, with some likely ready to start and others needing a little more time. So what this looks like is on Monday, June 1st, a week and a half away, bars and restaurants can reopen for outdoor dining. There can be no more than 50 people and no more than 4 people within a group seating. Workers are required to wear masks and customers are asked to wear masks as well. There are also new guidelines for personal care services, which include our highly missed barbershops and salons. They can open, but only at 25% capacity as it relates to fire code. Plus, appointments must be made and masks must be worn by both clients and employees. And besides that, campgrounds and charter boats will open with social distancing guidelines as well. And state officials also gave some details on what the next phase of reopening will look like, but did not set a timeline for that.
The next phase, gatherings will go up to 20 or less. Restaurants and bars will then move into an indoor setting as well. Max capacity will be 50% indoors with 6 foot of social distancing. Masks required for both workers and customers. Personal care services will move up to 50% as well. They went from 25 in the previous days, so we'll pop that up to 50. And then in addition, some outdoor entertainment venues will begin to open. So movies in the park and concerts.
Pools are also included in that next phase, and following that, the reopening of gyms and fitness centers. So slowly going back to how things used to be. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Kamaria Bray, KTTC News.
Thanks, Kamaria. This announcement is a step in the right direction for some businesses, but isn't what most were expecting. Our Zach Fuller spoke with some local businesses to get their thoughts on these new regulations. Zach.
Good evening, Caitlin. Gyms not being able to reopen came as a big shock, and salons are worried about only being able to operate at 25% capacity, but one salon owner that I spoke with says it's better than nothing. Governor Walz's announcement came as a light at the end of a very long tunnel for some.
That we're all going to be successful in this, and we're all so ready to go back to work. I mean, this has been since the middle of March.
After months of not being open, Sola salon owner Allison Saugen-Smith is able to get back to what she loves.
So, we're busy social people, and we want to be back in our studios. We want to be back with our guests and getting everybody looking good and feeling good.
But only at 25% capacity.
And so it's going to hit us in the pocketbook. We'll have to, for some of us, we'll have to work more days. I know I personally am working more days during the week just to make up for those clients that I'm unable to squeeze in.
But it is better than nothing, which is what gym owners in Minnesota got today.
Yeah, it's pretty fresh news for us, and we're a little bit speechless, really very disappointed.
Leading to a disappointing day, as Brent hoped for a better outcome.
We're ready. We've done everything that's been asked of us. If we know if we don't open responsibly that our customers aren't going to come back. So we're prepared. So today was a bitter news.
As for restaurants,
my reaction, my heart was up to my throat, just listening and waiting for the news.
Wednesday's announcement isn't exactly what they had in mind.
We are fortunate that we have a patio as well, and we can, adhere to the laws of what they're saying, what they're suggesting.
But it is better than the alternative.
And it's scary for all of us, and especially for our partners that have sit-down restaurants, that they're faced with this whole new change.
As they prepare for outdoor dining and hoping for good weather.
So I think what we could all, pray for and embrace is the reality that the weather's going to get better. We're going to hopefully get over this, with time.
That kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, you know?
And the health and fitness industry as a whole is 100% ready.
No one has a playbook on who or what we were all going to expect.
The Rochester Athletic Club tells me that it had a 25-page action plan to prepare to open, including having customers make an appointment and check in beforehand. And all three that I spoke with today thanked patrons for their patience during these trying times. Reporting in Rochester, Zach Fuller, KTTC News.
Thank you, Zach. And coming up, we will be live at the state capitol where nurses are making their voices heard in protest today. But first, a check on the weather, and our chief meteorologist Nick Jensen is on the weather patio. It was weather-wise a glorious day, Nick.
Absolutely beautiful outside today. Tom walked into the studio today, saw you, you're like, geez, Nick, it's nice outside, and it was beautiful. This afternoon, still beautiful conditions out here on the weather patio as well. We have temperatures across southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa into the mid-70s. We're at 73 degrees in Rochester. Winds a little breezy out of the southeast at about 17 miles per hour. I feel like temperatures right there near the actual air temperature. As we look at Lake Pepin, current temperatures out in Lake City sitting in those upper 70s. Right now in Red Wing, it's at 79 degrees. Still in those mid-60s though in Mason City because of the cloud cover, so still dealing with some partly cloudy skies down in northeast Iowa. That's why temperatures a little cooler there. As we zoom out though, that low pressure system that impacted the area this past weekend still impacting us with the cloud cover in northeast Iowa. All through Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois still dealing with the cloud cover from that weather maker that we had this past weekend. We'll deal with some showers and thunderstorms this weekend, but tonight quiet conditions will continue and overnight lows will be in those mid-50s. So mild conditions on the way tonight. This weekend, things a little different. We'll have a chance for some showers and thunderstorms both Saturday and Sunday. Almanac from the day, 74 degrees was the high in Rochester, above average today. I think we have average type conditions again tomorrow and into Friday. This weekend, a little different. Muggy and chances for thunderstorms. We'll break those details down in that Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Nick, thank you. Nurses on the front lines of the pandemic are increasingly concerned about being properly protected from the virus. They're gathering in St. Paul tonight to make sure those concerns are being heard, and that's where we find our Alex Tejada live to explain. Alex.
Tom, Caitlin, yesterday many of those nurses were able to voice their concerns to lawmakers. Today they're holding an informational picket at St. Paul's United Hospital, followed by a march to the state capitol. At Tuesday's meeting, nurses shared stories of being denied personal protective equipment, as well as facing retaliation from employers when they tried to find PPE on their own. State lawmakers were just as confused, pointing to the hundreds of millions of dollars they approved for that very equipment. Yet the nurses have been going without, leading many to blame supply chain issues for the delay.
At the task force, the governor said himself, we had 1 million masks on their way to Minnesota, and then they got rerouted somewhere. That's what I mean by, by our administrators going, we're on our 5th try trying to get PPE. That's what I mean.
This shortage of personal protective equipment is not just here in Minnesota. It's not just in our country. It is global. So yes, there have probably been decisions that have been made somewhat based on the supply chain.
More than 1,000 nurses in the state of Minnesota have tested positive for coronavirus. While there have not been any deaths, the Minnesota Nursing Association president warns that could change if nurses continue to go without PPE. And these nurses are also protesting changes to CDC guidelines, such as allowing PPE to be reused. They say this is a standard that goes against everything that they were taught and contaminates these masks and gloves that are meant to protect them. We'll be following this demonstration in March and have an update for you tonight at 10. Live in St. Paul, Alex Tejada, KTTC News.
Thank you, Alex. Memorial Day weekend is usually seen as the start of summer festivities.
Yes, but this year things are changing, including if some Rochester favorites will even open this summer. Details are coming up.